Today we're going to find out which is better, John Deere, New Holland, or Massey Ferguson. All right guys, what's going on? We are out here today. We are testing these two swathers, possibly a Massey Ferguson. We don't know if we're going to get that one yet. If it's in the thumbnail, we got it. If it's not in the thumbnail, then it's just these two today. So today, this is our New Holland. I believe is a 2022, has a 20-foot header on it. And this is a brand new John Deere. I need to look at the model again. It is a W235R with a 16-foot head. So we're testing a couple things. We tried to get a New Holland with a 16-foot head to get apples to apples. They were not able to get us one. They had three. They sold them right before they were able to bring them out. They both have the rotary heads, and just to be fair, we had John Deere come out and set this up just exactly how they would set it up. And we've done a few passes to make sure that this is set up correctly. So we're not trying to make one company look bad or whatever. We are trading in our swather next year. So we legitimately want to know what's the best, because we will be buying whatever's the best. So there are a few differences. Now these are called turtles. They are the same on here as they are on the other one. There's a few differences, but I'll show you that. They both have this is a conditioner. It crimps the hay so the hay will dry quicker. This one has these two little deals here that just kind of throw the hay in. And that is basically it as far as under here. They are very similar, except for this is a 16-foot wide, this is a 20-foot wide. So if we open this up, and this one stuck earlier, so I'll open up the middle one. This is ours. It's old. Yeah, a couple years. The blades are not brand new fresh, but they're not bad. So we've worn all the paint off. This has a much bigger auger that goes all the way across. And it also has a conditioner back there that you can kind of see that also crimps that hay. Ours has taken a few rocks and pipe and different things through it, so it's a little beat up. But this machine only has, it's got less than 500 hours on it, so it really doesn't have that many hours. They're both hydraulically driven. They both have similar features. I can tell this one it has a bigger cab than the New Holland, if that's something that you like. And for us, me, Josh back here, he's running the other one. For us, we're big guys. We like bigger cabs. So creature comforts are definitely a thing we look at. But other than that, they look very similar. Like the front tires, this one does have bigger front tires than this one. The New Holland, I forgot to say, is a Speedrower 260 plus. And we're excited to test these out and see. Now, we were trying to get multiple different swathers out here to test, but some of them fell through. We had a Massey lined up, and then that fell through, but we might have another one, so fingers crossed we get that one. But this is a really nice machine. We have never actually run, we've never demoed, we've never done anything with John Deere swathers. So we have run New Holland a lot for a long time. We've run New Holland. We've never run John Deere. So this is kind of new to us, kind of nice to see the differences. Now New Holland, we can go and look under here, and I think the new ones are a little bit different. And sorry if it's loud, we left the engines running. It's fully adjustable as far as these these flaps can come in and narrow up your row if you want. This pan can drop, and that will fluff it or make it short or whatever. Fully adjustable. Now this one is manually done. You can't do it from in the cab. To adjust it, you take this pin out and you have to move it back and forth. Manually done. I think the new ones are automatic. You can do it from in the cab. But again, this is a 2022 versus a new one. 2025 or 2026, I'm not sure. So on this, all of the adjustment between the pan dropping right there and the wings coming in is all done from in the cab on a monitor. So that's kind of nice. Other than that, they're very similar. I mean, they're swathers. All swathers are very similar. They all cut hay and grass and all those sorts of different things that you want to swath. Now, I want to go compare the rows before we get in of what we've done and then we'll go get in and we'll show you. So this is the John Deere row. So it's about 7 feet wide, and it's pretty even all the way across. There's a little bump on one side and a little bump on the other side. They told me they've tried a whole bunch of different things to just get it perfectly flat. Not much has worked, but they said that this doesn't really affect drying time. That's the main reason we're looking at a 16-foot head, is because now we're baling all of our hay and we need the drying time. We need it to dry faster. With this, the 20-foot head, we used to do silage. Well, with silage, we wanted it to be a little bit wetter, and with the wider header, we could get through quicker. So that's why we have the 20-foot header. But we're looking at a 16-foot head because we want that quicker drying time. The conditioners, sorry, I'm covered in spiders and bugs because, well, those things are covered in spiders and bugs. This is what the conditioners do. I'll show you. So this piece of hay, you can see how it's broke right here and right here. The conditioner crimps that, so it breaks it, and then it breaks it a few inches later, and it just puts little crimps in the hay. That causes the moisture to come out of the hay quicker, so it dries it out. And that's what we want. That's what we're going for. Now, so this was the first pass. So this over here was the John Deere. This over here was our New Holland. So let's go over here and just look at this. So this is the New Holland. It's similar width. It looks like we might have a little bit, set it a little bit wider, but also one thing we have to consider is we have to drive between these rows and rake them. And we don't want to have it, we could make this wider. It's fully adjustable, you can make it wider, but he said that if you make it wider, your tractor will run over the rows, and we don't want to run over the rows, because then that packs it down and it makes it hard to pick up with the rake and with the baler. So we don't want to do that. But so that's why this is a little bit wider, because it's a wider swath, because we have the 20-foot head. So we can make the row wider, which is good for this because it helps this dry out a little bit quicker than if it was narrower. Probably not as quick as the John Deere because that's 16. But we can make it a little bit wider and still have room to drive because it's a 20-foot swath. But it's also the same, like it's pretty well flat. It has a little bump on each side. And that bump is where the hay comes through the machine and it hits those side flaps. It hits those and kind of pushes it in. Now, with both machines, they work better at speed. So we weren't up to full speed right here, and down the road, and even on these, the faster you go, the smoother it is across. So both of them work better at higher speeds because it can fluff that out better when you're going fast. So let's go jump in. I'm gonna jump in the John Deere and we'll show you the inside and kind of show you how it runs. And then here in a little bit, I'll switch and I'll show you the inside of our New Holland. If you've been watching our previous videos, you've probably already seen the inside of the New Holland because we've done cutting videos before with it. So, but if you're new to the channel, I will show you the inside of the New Holland. And if we get to Massey, that will be after that. But we're unsure on that. It might come tomorrow, we'll see. So let's climb up in this thing and we'll show you a little bit about it.
We're gonna see how this one goes and how good of a windrow and everything it makes, and we will get third crop hay cut down. You can see Trevor's out here in it. It's plenty tall, plenty deep, and it should make for some good feed. So we'll get ready to watch. Taryn's in it right now with the John Deere tech, gonna get it all set up so it makes a good windrow for us to dry down. Then we'll get it set up so it makes a good windrow for baling. Looks like they're gonna go and do the open up pass where we go around the pivot. There's so many different ways you can adjust the windrow on everything. We just want to see it nice and fluffy. We want to see the header be able to cut, you know, the down. If the hay's laying down a little bit, we want to see it kind of pick it up, cut it the best we can. And it looks like it's doing about an 8-foot wide windrow, which, as long as we can rake it together, so the baler, so when Trevor and I come back and bale, it will be, we'll be able to pick it up with the baler. All right, so now it is coming back on this side of the pivot. We just go around the pivot, then when we get our 4 rows on each side, we'll move the pivot out of the way and cut 2 passes where the pivot sits. but when he hits this pivot track, we'll see how bumpy it looks up in the cab. It didn't look too bumpy to me. I don't know. What do you think? I was kind of hoping we could open it up and then just try it with GPS, because it does have integrated GPS. Try it on the pivot track. It did lift up quite a bit. So this water's been off about a week, so other than it's been kind of laid down, you can kind of see, you know, the hay's kind of laid over a little bit. Shouldn't have a ton of moisture on the ground, so it should help it dry faster.
All right, guys, just got in here. So I'll show you the differences, but like this joystick is so ergonomic. Like, it's just so nice, feels so good on the hand. I know that sounds dumb, but if you run one of these for 14 hours a day, the little ergonomic things make it so good. And then in this, there's a little cell phone holder right there, which is sweet. So you can just plop your phone in. This is all your settings. So there's this one, which is your engine speed, and that puts it into like a variable, but we're just running it at full tilt right now. And then you have your park brake. This turns on your blades. Now the blades are on. You can adjust this down. You got seat adjustments here, which is nice because we are all a little bit different sizes. Mainly Trevor is smaller than the rest of us. But it's just a really roomy cab. I mean, you got it nice. When they were setting it up, he was sitting right here, and normally when I'm sitting here and there's somebody in the buddy seat is super cramped, and it wasn't. It also has these little foot pegs, which, again, little creature comforts that you wouldn't think like, oh, well, why does that work? It's like, it makes it so much more comfortable to do. And then this has auto steer. So there's a little auto steer button right here, and we have it set up with the GPS. And I know a lot of them nowadays, you can get auto steer in them, but we have never had a Swather with auto steer. We had one once, and it sucked. It was the worst, but it was years and years and years ago. So we've never had auto steer since then. Let me just tell you, after running this a few rounds, auto steer with the Swather is so awesome. Like, it is great. But let's get going here and push the auto steer button and get going, and it gets me right on the line. And then when I get up there, I push this little 2 button. It has presets. So 2 puts it down, 1 lifts it up. And if you have hay that's maybe laid down a little bit or not, you can set 3 to be a different header tilt angle and just different adjustments. It's pretty adjustable. But let's get up to speed here now that we're going. See how fast we can go. 15.3 miles an hour, and I am not touching anything. It is just working. That's something I've never experienced in my life, is just an auto steer on a Swather. Now we do have hills, so I have to slow down a little bit to keep the RPMs up for the header, but something I've never experienced is to just hands-free drive a Swather. That is crazy to me that it actually works so good, because last one we had that had an auto steer, it had a little ball right here that pushed on the steering wheel and tried to move it. Did not work. It was terrible. We never used it. But in here, you can come over to this page where you can set your automation. You can set all your load, your speed. This is where you set the stuff for the gap on your conditioner. This is the swath flap, and then this is the forming shield. So you can change how wide it is, how tight it crimps it, and you can change like the fluffiness of the row and everything just from right here, which is nice. You can do it on the fly. That's great. So already this thing is doing a great job. The swaths look really good. They're really uniform and flat. We like that. compared to this is the New Holland over here. The rows are a little bit, they're flat in the middle, but they're kind of bunched up on the ends. But that's not really the Swather's problem. The problem we have there is we have a 20-foot header and we're trying to make the rows nice and flat. So it's got a lot of extra material to pull in, and it hits the forming shield, and it kind of bunches that up just on the edge. It still does a good job. It just takes maybe a day longer to dry. We're hoping that going to a 16-foot header will shorten drastically the drying time. And what's crazy is I can use my hands when I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm literally holding the camera in one hand and moving this hand around because this thing is just driving itself. This is awesome. Not to say that the new New Hollands, they also have integrated GPS, and so does the Massey. But we have never run anything with integrated GPS. This is my first time, so this is really exciting to me. So I'm really excited about it. Hopefully nobody's annoyed about that, because everybody in the comments is gonna be, well, my Massey or my New Holland or my whatever also has GPS. That's nothing new. Well, it's new to me, so give me a break. There goes Josh in the New Holland. I'm gonna go down here to the end, and then I'm gonna cut back, and then we're gonna switch to the New Holland, and I'll show you the inside of that one. If you've never seen the inside of it, we're gonna give you a good little overview. So just creature comforts, you have plenty of vents here, the AC, which is always nice when you're in a hot glass box in the middle of the field. Works really good. Radio, you have your mirror adjustments right here, which is great because I always look in these mirrors to see if I'm missing any or if I'm stripping the leaves off. I'm trying to think of all the little features, but right now I can't think of much. So I'm gonna turn around here. I am gonna have to put the camera down, but so if I push this, get out the end, and I push one, that lifts it up. And then with the GPS, he told me it works best if you just do kind of you go out a little bit further and do a little sweeping turn. Then when you come back, and I'm not gonna be able to do this quite right. Oh dear. I'm trying to do too many things at once. So I'm actually gonna back up because it's hard for me to do all this at the same time while filming and running one hand, and it's new to me. So now auto steer okay, there, it's getting me back on my line. And then I push 2 and it drops down, puts me right in line, and doesn't look like I'm going to be missing much of that pivot track over there either, so that's nice. And then we can just get zipping again. 16 miles an hour. Well, it jumped up to 16 there for a minute, but it's handling it great. It's doing an awesome job. So because this is GPS, I am missing a little bit over here, but I have a little bit over here to play with. So if I go here, I can shift my track just a couple of inches further in, so I'm still catching this side, but now I'm not really missing a whole lot on this side, so that's pretty nice. But I'm gonna finish this round, and then I'm gonna trade Josh off, and he'll drive this and I'll drive that, and we'll show you how that one works and show you the good and the bad of that one. So far, bad. I don't really, there's a little squeak when I hit bumps, something squeaking, kind of annoying, but I don't really know what that is either. So I honestly don't know anything bad. It does have some shades on it, at least one shade in the front. I can't find anything bad about it, to be honest. Oh, it also has, a little, if I can figure out how to open it, it does have a little fridge right here. I figured out how to open it. There's your fridge. Looks like it's pretty roomy. You can keep your drinks cool, you can keep your lunch cool. It's pretty nice. It's a nice machine, that's for sure. We have never once run a John Deere Swather before, so it's pretty cool. I like it. All right, guys, I just wanted to pop in with a little update. I've been running this for a few hours now, and I've got it to where it's going 17.2. I think the GPS kicks off once you get to about 17.5 or 17.9, I can't remember. But but we're cutting 17 miles an hour with GPS. This thing's awesome. I've been trying to find a downside to this John Deere, and I found one. I found one. Just one that I can think of. The speakers for the radio. It's kind of silly. The speakers for the radio aren't that great. They're kind of tinny. They don't have very much bass. I know that's a silly thing, but it's the one thing that I found that could be improved upon in this John Deere. I don't know. It's not that big a deal, but I've been trying to find some downside to this John Deere. The speakers could be better. That's about it. Other than that, having to literally do nothing and just sit here while this cuts hay is pretty awesome. Okay, Josh is going to take off in that thing, in the John Deere. I'm going to hop up in this one. There goes Josh. I just showed him how to run it. So inside here, we don't have the little foot pegs, but we do have these little spots on the floor, which make it kind of nice. It is also adjustable steering wheel. So this is what I was talking about the handle. So this is it's like a big ball. So it's just not as ergonomic of a handle. And then all the buttons are kind of far apart and harder to reach. So all the buttons on the John Deere I think are a little bit better placed. Now granted, this is a 3-year-old machine. I don't know what the new ones look like. So if this isn't what the new ones are, then oh well. This is what we got. So this is our handle. You have your PTO here to start it up. Here's our RPM. It's a little bit more noisy in here, the cab. I didn't really talk about that, but the cab in here is a little bit louder. So let's go ahead and start the blades. In here we don't have GPS, but we can see our disc speed. You can see all of your temperatures and stuff, your header tilt and all that stuff. So we're going now. We also have a buddy seat. It's not as roomy of a cab because the armrest is like right next to that. So yeah, it isn't quite as roomy of a cab. We have all of our AC controls, all of our lights. We have our AC. We still have a radio. And if you get stuck in it, you can break the window with that little dealie right there. But we're gonna get going here. I am gonna set you guys up on a tripod because unlike the other one, I can't hold the camera and drive this thing because it doesn't have GPS. So let me set you up on a tripod and we'll get going here. There we go. Take the park brake off and away we go. So sorry if the camera's a little shaky, you are on a tripod. Josh said he was able to go about 14 miles an hour. So it isn't going quite as fast, but it also has a 20-foot header on it. So, but yeah, with this one, you constantly have to be hanging on to the steering wheel and the throttle. Oh, I just hit a bump of some dirt. But it is still really comfortable. Like I'm going up a hill right now, I have to slow down. Hopefully the camera doesn't tip over. But this is a good machine, it is working great. I wouldn't say it has any negatives other than it doesn't have the foot pegs. Again, the little creature comforts. Big deal when you're running this thing for 14, 15 hours a day. Sometimes longer than that. It is a big deal. But I am able to see my whole swath out the windows, out the mirrors. This one does not have automatic mirrors, I do not believe. At least I've never, oh yeah, it does. It does have automatic mirrors, I take that back. I just found the button. I've never had to adjust them because they've stayed pretty well set since we got them. To show you out the front. Again, this hay is as tall as we've let it get this year. We've let it get tall and bloom out. We have a lot of really good dairy quality hay, but we don't have any feeder hay for the dairy that we're selling to, and they would like some feeder hay. So we're going for feeder hay, which is lower quality, but we'll get higher tonnage, and that will make it, I mean, we'll get paid about the same amount in the end. We'll just get more tonnage this crop. So, but you can see that it's pretty laid down because it got tall and got laid down. So, oh, here comes Josh. But it's pretty laid down. There he goes. And even with it being laid down, it is cutting pretty well. Right now I'm going 9 miles an hour, but let's bump it up now that we're kind of on a hill. See, oh boy. So one thing a big difference I can notice right now is the ride. This New Holland does not have as good a ride as that John Deere.
The John Deere Swather today. Moving around, GPS 14, I was going 16, kind of going up a hill. Not even touching the throttle or the steering wheel. Pretty quiet in here, except for that squeaky door. I don't know what's with that. Rides smoother than the New Holland. And I can get a drink of water without spilling it all over myself. There's the New Holland coming at me. Parents rubbing in today. You could probably put a movie in here and watch TV or whatever because you don't have to drive. Sure is nice.
That John Deere, it does not have an air ride cap, but it does have suspension on the rear wheels. And it does have bigger tires, which probably helps. I know having more surface area, more rubber, more sidewall gives you better suspension. So it doesn't have that. But this cab is on suspension. I can't remember if it's air or springs, but it is more rough. I can already tell that this is a little bit bumpier, a little bit rougher ride than the John Deere. They both have air ride seats, which helps. But honestly, like, I've hit bumps to this thing and it's about thrown me into the windshield. So, and I haven't operated the John Deere long enough to know if it would do that too. But I'd say for right now, the John Deere is in the lead as far as which one I would prefer to run all day. We're going to go ahead and get this turned around, plop it down. Now this one doesn't have preset buttons, but you can lift it up with one button. When you push the down button, it goes automatically down. So it doesn't have many preset buttons. And you can see that while I'm filming, my line is very crooked because doing multiple things at once is hard. I'm doing my best. But I'm gonna get the rest of this cut, and then I will give kind of a rundown of what I think of both machines after. Okay, I just got finished with all of my passes over there in that section. Now we don't want to get two separate, like a whole bunch of just separate passes in the field from different swathers. We kind of want to keep most of this pivot as the John Deere, and so Josh is going to come take this. He's going to take it to another field. He'll go do that, and then I'm going to hop back in the John Deere. He's on his way on this pass, and then I will keep going. One thing is, so just to make sure, so John Deere came out and set up the John Deere, but also at the beginning of this year, the New Holland dealer came out and set this up for what we're doing right now. So they've both been set up by the dealer, not by us. We just said, hey, this is what we're doing. We need it set up for the optimal conditions. So come out and set it up so we can run it. Here comes Josh and the John Deere. I'm gonna go hop in that thing and try to finish this pivot. Now it is just a demo, so we only get 5 hours on it, and we'll see what we can get done. Let's go see what Josh thought of the John Deere. Well, Josh, what did you think of driving the John Deere?
It's definitely a lot smoother riding.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed too, is like, it is way rougher in that one, in the New Holland. That is so much more bumpy. And I don't even know what it is, because this doesn't have a suspension cab. It does have bigger tires, and it has some suspension on the rear tires. But that one has suspension on the cab. It's like, I don't really know why it's smoother. But yeah, I noticed that too. Anything else?
I think you could probably eat lunch, watch TV, whatever, with that GPS. 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, it is really nice to just sit there and it just kind of does its thing. It's pretty sweet.
You fall asleep, I think.
Sleeping hazard. Okay. All right, well, we're gonna hop in this and keep going. All right, just hopping back in this thing. So, the one thing that everybody's been talking about, and we've kind of heard a few people talk about, is what you can cut with it. I'm gonna get going and then we'll talk about it a little bit. All right, park brake off, idle it up, blades on. You go in here. GPS on, which is awesome. Love GPS. I know everybody's like, oh, farmers have gotten so lazy. So farmers farm a lot more ground than they used to, and GPS makes it a lot easier to do that. So one thing, we've heard people say that like the Massey Ferguson doesn't do well in like thin stems or grass like triticale, and the John Deere also doesn't do well in thin stems of grass, all that stuff. Well, the dealer that came out, he's been cutting hay for 100 years. He said his farm's been around for 100 years, and now he works part-time on the farm, part-time as a John Deere dealer. So what he said is the John Deere actually shines in thin stems. It has some plates in there that really just funnel everything in. It's got a little feeder auger that pushes everything in. Does great. We have heard that the Massey Ferguson does not do well in new seeding and thin stems. It just plugs it up. So we don't know that. We have never run it, but that's just what we've heard. But we don't do, other than new seeding, we don't do any thin stems, grasses. We just do hay. So this is doing awesome. He's like, oh yeah, he's like, if you're doing hay, it does awesome. One thing is the New Holland, and the John Deere dealer, like he even said, the New Hollands will cut anything. If you're cutting thin stems, thick, heavy stuff, whatever, it's like the New Holland, just how it's set up, it's got that big auger that feeds everything in. It will cut whatever you throw at it. So it does not matter what you're cutting, and you don't even have to change the settings. You can just drop it and go. So the New Holland is really great if you're cutting lots of various things. It'll just do it, no problem. These other ones, so like if we were doing thin stems or whatever, we might have to adjust. There's a little plate in there you'd have to adjust down inside under here. You adjust it down, and that makes it so it's an anti-wrap thing, so it makes it so the grass won't wrap around the shaft of the auger. But we don't do that, so we probably won't ever have a problem. But for now, so far, like this thing is just, this John Deere at least, is so comfortable. Like when you're gonna be out here all day working, it's just comfortable. Like you got the foot pegs to make it so your legs don't get tired. You can move around a little bit. Like the ergonomics of this handle are more comfortable. Like it's just so comfortable. The seat is more comfortable. Just everything about it. Now, let me turn around here. Slow down, I'm going too fast. I'm gonna end up messing this up. We're gonna do right here. So I'm gonna have to readjust the GPS, because now I want to do right next to the wheel track, and then I'll come back and get this little strip. But I'm just gonna turn this off for a second. Turn everything off. I really like this John Deere. Honestly, if we're gonna be getting something new, I'd have a serious look at this as far as financing. Now I think the price of the John Deere is a little bit more than the New Holland. I don't know what the prices are. We haven't really got quotes from anybody, but tomorrow they are supposed to be bringing out a Massey Ferguson, that we can also run. Now, I won't be here tomorrow, so Trevor, I've told Trevor to film the Massey Ferguson. So if he has done that, if they've brought that out, that will be right after this. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope this gives you some idea of what the John Deere, the New Holland, the Massey Ferguson will do. Make sure to go down below in the comments and put what you think. Which one you think is the best. Even after seeing the video, maybe you're brand loyal and you just want to be like, Massey Ferguson's the best. Nothing can beat it. Whatever you want to do. You can put that in there. I won't stop you. But just from what I've seen, I kind of like the John Deere the best. Just to be honest. The New Holland will cut anything. It has a little bit wide, ours at least has the 20-foot swath, which actually isn't great for what we're trying to do. We would actually like to have just a 16-foot header. The New Holland is really nice. It does really well. It doesn't have a smoother ride. The creature comforts aren't quite as good, but it also isn't brand new. We tried getting a brand new one and they didn't have one. They sold all of them before we could do this. Maybe in the future, maybe for fourth crop hay, we'll try and get a New Holland out, demo that too, because we would like to see what it does. We are going to be getting a new swather next year. So we do want to see what the New Holland will do. So we're going to try and get that sorted out, and maybe fourth crop we'll have a old New Holland versus a New Holland video and see how they do. See what they've changed. But for now, I'm kind of leaning towards this John Deere. It is really nice. It is really comfortable. We will see what Trevor says about the Massey Ferguson. So I will take you guys to Trevor. I just want to say before we jump to Trevor that he did run this John Deere. So he knows how this John Deere feels, handles, everything. He did run it. That's who was driving it in the upcoming drone shots. All right, guys, we have here the Massey Ferguson 265 Swather. So I was not able to run this. This is actually being filmed a few days after harvest has already been done. So Trevor and Josh ran this and they filmed a little bit of running it. So I'll show that in a minute, but I thought I would do a little walk around while we still have this here on the farm. Just looking under the header, it has the same look of the turtles. Looks like, just like the John Deere, it has a bolt for each one. The New Holland actually has a quick detach knife. I don't know if I ever said that. The John Deere says you can order it with the quick detach knives. It's just a feature you have to order. So there's the big long conditioner. And then this is a little auger that helps feed everything in. It has one. The John Deere actually has two of these, but this has one extra one. Or actually, the John Deere has three. It has the outside, which is the drive for the turtles. Then it has two other ones. This one just has one, and then a little auger that kind of feeds everything in. So the reason that I've heard why the Massey doesn't do well in fine stems is because they wrap around this auger and it kind of plugs up. So that's, I have not experienced that. We actually won't ever experience that because we don't have anything with fine stems other than new seeding, and so we won't know that. So if anybody down in the comments knows that, leave a comment, say yeah it does, or no it doesn't, it does fine. So let us know if you've run one of these and how it does with fine stem stuff, because that's just what we've heard. Back here we have this flap, forming shield flap. It's got all the things that come in and adjust it, just like the John Deere. Looks like this one's a manual adjustment where you have a chain there and then you can loosen that to bring your flaps in. So this one's manual adjustment, unlike the Deere that was automatic from the cab. Back here on the back, this looks similar to the New Holland. Doesn't look quite as beefy, and also there's no suspension other than these little bars for when you're going and articulating, but the other ones have that too. So let's just go hop up in the cab and we'll see how a big 6'6" guy like myself fits in this. I know Trevor said it was kind of small for him, so let's climb up here and see what we got. I mean, it looks nice. It's a nice buddy seat. Ooh, with a big cooler. So our New Holland does not have a cooler. That's one thing it didn't have. I don't know if this seat goes back any further. Nope. I don't think it does. Yep, I'm back all the way. So in here, we do have some foot pegs, which is nice. But yes, Trevor was correct. This is not built for a big boy. This is a little cramped. If I put my feet on those pegs, it kind of kinks me up a little bit. I'm not designed for this size of machine. All right, so let's do a little look around here. The joystick, that actually is a pretty comfortable joystick. They've kind of molded it to fit your hand. It's still not quite as nice a joystick as the John Deere, I would say. Ooh, that's how you know my legs are too long. When I push this forward, I can't go all the way full throttle unless I move my leg. My knee hits it. I'm too big. But maybe if you're a little guy, it works just fine. Also, so all these buttons, I guess, are customizable. You can go in the screen, which I'm not even going to bother turning it on. Trevor and Josh kind of show you this stuff. But I guess this is all customizable to whatever you want. You can go in and you can program this to do what you want these buttons to do, which is kind of a nice feature. But it definitely doesn't have near as many buttons as the other two. They all have lots of switches and buttons and different things. This just has your park brake. You have your first or your road gear, speed, and that's about it. Looks like a fuse switch. We've got a little bit of storage over here. And yeah, that is about it. Have our windshield wipers, our lights, and over here we got the radio and the heat and AC. We have one shade. So I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely smaller than both our New Holland and the John Deere. For me, I wouldn't want to sit in this thing all day. It might. Trevor and Josh both said that this did ride smoother than our New Holland. So even though it is small, I guess it rides nicer. So, but I'll let them kind of tell you more about that. For me, I don't know that I would want to sit in here all day just because it's pretty cramped. But I'm a little above average. Not everybody's as big as I am. So I'm going to send it over to Trevor and Josh, and they'll show you what they filmed out in the field. Now, got to cut them a little bit of slack. They're newer to filming, so the footage is a little out of the ordinary as far as how it was filmed, but they did their best. I'm proud of them. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Well, guys, one thing I can tell you already I don't like about this machine, I'm not a big guy. I'm a big guy, but I'm only 6 foot, and it's a little tight with my legs in here. It's not big guy friendly. Some other things I do like so far just sitting in here. The handle here, I like how it goes, and it's pretty easy moving. That's one thing I didn't like in the John Deere, is you really had to push this handle to move it. We got the screen here. I'm not sure how to use it yet. I haven't started it. I'm waiting for the guy to come out and set it up, but we'll see how it runs. Here's a little bit better view of the inside of that chute. It looks like, from what I can tell, that all the adjustments on this are manual, kind of like our Swather. They're not, you can't do them from the cab. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Good afternoon, guys. I'm out here in the Massey, and this has got some nice GPS, so I'm able to talk to you and film while I'm cutting. Sitting here cutting, I got a bunch of this field cut, but I'm going to show you something here real nasty. If you got allergies, watch this. Look at all that yummy that's coming off them weeds, all that pollen. Ugh, it's gross. So far so good. This thing's running pretty good. It impressed me. I didn't think it would be that good.
Well, here we are in the Massey Ferguson Swather. Smooth ride. Nice straight line using the GPS. GPS is annoying because you have to almost be perfectly straight to get it to engage. And this hydraulic noise is insanely loud. I almost have to yell to make this video. It says we're doing about 26 acres to the hour. Well, about 14.7. Hay's all standing up, so don't have to really worry about bogging too much. Just hit a big clump of dirt. The ride is not as nice as the John Deere, but it's pretty close. You can tell when we hit a big pile of hay that it kind of bogs down. Needs a little bit more horsepower to go this speed. Other than that, it's pretty nice. These buttons here, who knows what they do? There's no symbols on them to tell you what they do, besides the GPS control. And another thing on these buttons, you would think that would be up, well, that's down, and that's up. This is up here. Why not put the switches on the back side that go up and down? Your fingers aren't doing anything. Back there is a speed control, so you can set your speed to 15 and it'll go up to 15 miles an hour, or 13 or 12 or whatever, but why not put the up and down back there? Make it more accessible to get to, away from everything else, because I keep hitting that button there, which is the tilt. Of course, it's a new machine, but still, I think the buttons are way too close to each other. Here's a good example of GPS on the left, straight line. On the right, freehand. As we go down and cut next to the line, that's how crooked they are.
Well, guys, we are done with the hay for this crop, getting it cut. I didn't film this outro in the swather because Josh was finishing it up, but a few things I liked about that swather. It rides really nice. You can cut at speed. You can adjust your speed, so you can just take the stick and shove it forward, and it like cruise control. That was nice. The GPS worked okay, but the buttons on the stick, doesn't tell you what any of them do, so you kind of gotta guess and figure that out. You have to go into the computer to figure that out. So that was I didn't like that very much. It does ride a lot nicer than our swather. And I didn't like the cab. The cab is smaller, and I'm not, I'm a hefty guy, but I'm not tall. So it's a little small for a 6-foot guy, so I imagine it's a little smaller for everybody else, but those are things I liked and didn't like.
Alright guys, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, go down, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to join the RMF Club, fill out the form. We send out stickers every week to random people on the list. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.